Got to jump in the PNG Tuber channel. Hold on. There we go. Hey, Flarger. Hey, Rosie. How y'all doing? Wiener. Yeah, and what's the good choice? Doing this tonight? Yeah, I need to know. And this is going to be a good exercise in self-restraint. Because I'm forcing myself to stop after this investigation. Rabbit, thank you. Oh, for the music? Cool. I love that song. Rabbit, thank you so much for the host. I really appreciate it and you. Let's just jump into it, I guess. Case 5's investigation segment. Here we go. I need to know, bitch. I need to know. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. We have returned, my dear fellows. What if I can't stop after investigating? That won't happen. This is an exercise in self-restraint. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I know. You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So this prosecutor, Asogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. All this started almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hadn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he described himself as a great detective's lie. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes, so what news of Shichigoku? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah yes, I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Oh, you've had a reply already? What was so urgent though, Mr. Sholmes? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. I'm really worried this is going to be like an extremely short investigation sequence because of how late it is. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. Ah, and what a feast it is. If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. Rabbit, thank you for gifting that sub to Flag. I really appreciate that. Such a sweetie. Which means impromptu finale. I'm not doing that impromptu finale tonight. It's a Monday night, dude. Or it could be a very long day, so eat up. I would stop at some point in the trial. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be only one set with a helping of pheasant as well. Pheasant. Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there. Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy. For me? That's right, I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. Professor Mickey? I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. Oh my. It's a shame, really. What do you mean? Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean. Oh. Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened in on the conversation you had after I tricked you all into thinking I left. What? Oh, Sholmes. Oh boy, here we go, here we go. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotoba are Iris's father. Well, who is? Yes, about that, Iris. You know, it's not you, is it? I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris. It can't be Sholmes, because that would imply that Herlock Sholmes has had sex, and I'm not ready for that, I'm not ready for that revelation. The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping. Oh no, that's quite alright. Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? So just who is Iris's father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious. Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds. This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About that telegram from Japan, and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. There's gonna be like another fucking murder or some shit, and then we're gonna have to investigate way into the night, right? Well, hello, there must be lots of people in the room. I can't talk to any, or not, okay. Why are you sitting there? God, the way his eyes are. I don't know why it's so funny. Look on his face right now. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Oh, here we go. Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes. Sorry, Harley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy. Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer. Mr. Sholmes, could I discuss some things with you? Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. You needn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discover. Yeah, the Pokemon. So, what was in the telegram you received back from Japan? Ah, this. I thank my lucky stars it arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What? Those 4 names? We've come across that exact same list before. Yeah, at the end of Case 5 of the last game. They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. Oh, poor Mr. Windibank. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be a masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of a message. K. Asogi, Ace Shin, T. Gregson. Well, actually, according to Susato, it was Guregusan, but, you know, and J. Wilson. But we didn't find names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are the names coming up again now? Yes! Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have here the message I wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jikogu's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names, need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. Was it Hosonaga? You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you. And in my name? I wonder what guise he opted for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency. You understand? Yes, his profile is very funny. It's the swimwear. I saw. Oh lord. Anyway, the list of names we found in Seishiro was found in Seishiro's office, as Sholmes predicted. So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jikoku. He was the intended recipient. I don't believe it. But that doesn't actually answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I could possibly have shared it. Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for once. Telegram from Japan has been entered into the court record. I guess we'll talk about that when I present it. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Borea. It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. We were completely taken in by the lie you told us, your great detective's lie. I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost. What? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Miss Susato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead. Oh my, you mean... The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi, I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm getting some deja vu. I feel like I had a dream about this. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? Oh boy. The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer and the study tour can continue, surely. God, the fucking... Oh, I've got some chills at, like, how smart this man actually is and how 5D chess with interdimensional time travel this dude was playing. But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. No, 5D chess, my dude. 5D with interdimensional time travel. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. So, you manipulated me? I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths with friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I don't believe it. But if it's all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of... Thank you! Thank you, I've been thinking about this for so long. What happened to Miss Pavlova? I've been thinking about this since case 3, and I was worried that they were just gonna gloss over it. Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. Thank you. I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. Wonder if she made it to America then. I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain? The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see. Oh! An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand. An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what this dude knows. Which is why I'm not going to ask you shit. In fact, I will just have to present this and hope for the best. There was no room for doubt with your instructions on this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jikoku's office that should be searched, so you obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. We only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top-secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes. But at the time, you weren't aware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets, because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese government. Oh my god. Oh my god. You're perpetually doing what? How? Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes when he has designs on knowing it. Oh my, Mr. Sholmes, what a fabulous line. That was a good line. Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about those 4 names and the tragedy to which they're somehow all connected. As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believed to be recently deceased. What? Who? A Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, known among London's unsavory classes. Oh, I see. But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Miss Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she herself had been killed, and accordingly I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list. Kei Asogi and T. Gregson. Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself, but I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain. So that's why you went to such lengths to prevent the study tour from going ahead. That's why he was on the SS Borea. I was wondering about that. Exactly. So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes? Or Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I've recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. So Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know. Oh, Iris. I know he wasn't my daddy, but still, that's very sad. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No. But what you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis. A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo? Ah, yes. You mean about Asa Shin, I presume? Oh, of course. Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel. And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy. What? Topsy? Not turvy? Topsy hypothesis. What do you mean when you say that your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? I believed all 4 names on the list to be names of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so. Asa Shin was a killer. So this telegram's a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed, and it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. His visiting student status being merely a front. Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions. The real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asa Shin is because he was the target of an assassination. And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective. What do you mean? Well, does it not strike you there's another among the 4, who subsequently became a visiting student? Wait, you mean... But of course, a name you know only too well. You mean... Kazuma? Oh! He did say in court earlier today. Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now. Surely not. In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange. An ass exchange? How could Plasma possibly have gotten involved in something like that? Tell me about this ass exchange. Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would then be an assassin exchange. So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then, the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange. But what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh yes! Such jurisdiction would be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into place suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels? These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by contractual agreement. But they appeared utterly unrelated. Yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular, devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins, as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. God, I'm gonna have to call this part Assassin's Creed Revelation. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Kazuma was here for Gregson? So Jigoku wasn't actually the mark? Yes, that's exactly what it would mean. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the Inspector safe. Mr. Sholmes. I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position, obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition, that he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him. But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last. This is too much to take in. Take in. Don't use that phrase right now. This is not the time to be taking in. Alright, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Harry? I mean, look at the time. Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall maybe make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember. It is a bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy, because then Susie would have been my big sister. I'm sorry, Iris. I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. What are you? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. Aww, so you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo on the floor? Yes, yes, of course. It would be my pleasure. Oh, you didn't have to agree quite so readily. Oh, but wait a minute, if Susie's gonna be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want, Runo, huh? I mean, yes, of course, if you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother. Well done, Iris. We must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. I love them so much! Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally. Right, well, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now, because it's for my big brother and sister. What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what? You'll just have to wait and see. Oh. Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'm not ready! I'll do my very best, of course. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths while exposing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Kogu's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Because I had my friends. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly beside me. No, don't make me cry. You're not allowed. Well, what the fuck was that? What was that? Why did I go live for this? I was gonna do an investigation. God fucking damn it, I hate everything. What am I gonna do? I hate everything. I was gonna do it. I thought we mean no, the game was like, fuck you. I don't know. Mental breakdown. I have to. I can't stream for 30 minutes. I hate everything. Why did I let you guys do? Why did none of you guys stop me? Twy has a mental breakdown live on stream. You've seen it firsthand. Why did they make a save point just for that? Why? They were trying to trick unsuspecting idiots like me. This ain't even right. Why even call it investigation? Why do that? All right, you know what? I'm going to take a quick intermission for like 15 seconds so that I can split the VOD. All right? Be right back.